So now this is another functionality which is already available in the latest version. In the older versions, the drag and drop option was something that you needed to enable from the preferences. So every user will have their own preferences that they can set based on their comfortability, right? So they will click on these preferences besides the logout to enable the drag and drop plugin, which will be an applet in the browser, and then they can start importing the application using drag and drop from their desktop, right?
Okay.
Now, once you enable the drag and drop, then again this import option will come where you can provide the name type of the document. Now, type of the
Okay.
document can have multiple formats we have seen, right? Document can be of
Yeah.
PDF file, it can be of Word file, it can be a report file, whatever, right? So that also you need to select. And then after selecting this, you also need to select which application you want to set in order to open these files, right? So when you once the document is imported, when you double click on the document after the import is done, which application is available on your machine, which will be invoked when you double click on the document, correct? It can be
Yes.
some open source Word or opening software that you have installed. It can be MS Office. It can be Adobe Reader or Acrobat Professional to open a PDF file, or it can be some other open source tool to open the PDF. You can set all
Mm.
that from the preferences which I showed you. We will see that in a while,
Okay.
right? So when you click on earlier we were doing the import when the document is already available on your system, then you will do import. But when you don't have any document, then you will have to create the file from scratch. How? Click on file, new document. Then again it will ask for the same information, name,
Mm.
type, format, template, and then it will open a Word file on front of your screen, blank Word file, so that you can provide the content inside that. Once you provide the content, save the document, then it will ask you to save the document with same version. Since this is the first document, that's why only one option is there. Next time when
Okay.
you will check out and do a check-in, then you will see three options there. Same version, next minor version, and next major version.
Okay.
Okay. And this version label. Now everything that you see here in the left hand side, they are attributes of DM document. And
Mm.
you can set in what sequence you want to show these properties. That is also something which can be set. Now these are display names or also called label. You can change this. Now this is
Okay.
not the exact attribute that is created in the table called DM document. I told you that each object type, everything in Documentum is an object, and combined together similar objects are called object type, which are nothing but class in Java. Now
Mm.
difference from class in Java in from Documentum is that for each object type, there is a database table created on which you can run a query, right? So you can run a query on DM document, such as select a star from DM document. What will it give? It will give all the document of type DM underscore document that is created in the system.
Okay.
Clear? Now, if you create your own custom object type, which is inheriting from DM document, let's say two types you created, one for accounts department, one for IT department, and you gave it a
Okay.
name. Now, what you see in the left hand side are the attributes, but they are not the exact attribute in this table. They are the display name or the label against those attributes. So, what is the exact attribute on which you can run a query? For example, if it is version label, so this is how it is stored in Documentum in these tables. So for each object type, there will be a database table that is created on which you can run the query and find the values associated with these attributes.
Mm.
Attribute label name is in the left hand side and the respective value is in the right hand side, and you can change the sequence in which the properties are displayed, and primarily you do that at custom object type level when you have created your own custom attributes and properties at custom object type level. Tell me if you have any query in this statement.
No, it's great.
Good. Now you created two documents, one you imported into the system and one you created from scratch using file new document option, right? And this
Okay.
all was done into home cabinet. So what is a home cabinet here? Home cabinet is your cabinet. So whoever logs in, there is a separate cabinet created for that particular user so that they can do their personal work here.
Okay.
Okay. Now, as I told you last time, there is a cabinet section. Inside that, many cabinets will have to be created to store
Mm.
all the business documents. So inside these cabinets, there will be further subfolders and then many other folder layers, hundreds of layers of folders, and then
Mm.
thousands and millions of documents that will be stored. Now, all these cabinets that you see here until templates, they are predefined and pre-created cabinets. Okay, so this cabinet is the name of the super user and system administrator. So there will be a cabinet created and this will be visible and accessible only to the users who have system admin or super user permission. We will talk about the meaning of those users later on. Okay, then
Okay.
there will be a resources cabinet in which all the system resources related details will be there. Now, since you logged in as a student A account, there is a cabinet against this, and this cabinet and home cabinet is same.
Okay.
Okay, the name of the user, with the name of a user there is a cabinet created and the same cabinet is denoted here as home cabinet. So for each
Mm.
user it will be configured that way. Let's say if a test user is logging in, so there will be a cabinet called test user here, and then home cabinet will also show test user.
Okay.
And for a test user, student A will not be visible. Okay, and that's how the permission is granted. So we will talk about permission and security, how it is done. Similarly,
Okay.
system cabinet, temporary cabinet will have all the temporary files, all the reports that gets generated in Documentum, they get stored in temporary folder and they stay there for 24 hours or 7 days, depending upon how you configure it, and then they get deleted.
Okay.
Okay. Usually, you will also see in the latest version that recycle bin is created here. So whenever someone deletes any document, it doesn't get deleted from the entire system. It goes into the recycle bin, and then from there, after the policy, let's say 30 days, 60 days, whatever you define, based on that, it will stay there for that many period, and then it gets deleted automatically.
Okay.
Clear?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, whatever action you want to perform on any document, you first need to select the document from here. Okay.
Okay.
Let's say if you want to edit the document, so you click on edit from here. If you want to view the property of the document, so either you do right click and properties or you select the document and click on view and then properties. Now if you want
Okay.
to check how many total versions are created on this document, you select the document, click on view and then versions. Now if you want to see how many total renditions are associated, do you remember rendition, how many different formats and language translations are associated with this document? You can select
Yeah.
from here view and renditions. I will show you
Mm.
those screens, don't worry. You see
Okay.
this view properties, view versions, view
Mm.
renditions, view locations also. So if this document is linked to different locations, to different folders, then it will show you
Mm.
all the location in which this document exists. So we will talk about how the location selection is done for a document and how you can make it available to 3 4 different folders by
Mm.
creating a linking. So we will talk about this in operations on documents. Now, if you also want to see how many the information, the properties of the document in terms of information, what are the permissions on this document? If you want to check who can see the document, who can delete the document, who can create a checkout and check in on this document, all that will
Mm.
be visible in permissions. Okay, and history will
Okay.
tell you some brief information about what operation has been performed on this document recently, like someone has
Okay.
done some update operation on the document, then when was it done, who did it,
Mm.
that will be stored here in the history of the document. A very brief audit information to be precise, but more
Okay.
detailed audit operation is stored in even the history is stored in the DM audit trail, and whoever performs whatever activity, you can go and
Mm.
run a clear.
Yes. Clear.
Now, if you want to see the properties, you do the right click document or single select view properties. This is how you can see the properties of those documents. As I told you, all the left hand side are label name or display name of the actual attributes which are created in dm underscore document table. dm
Yeah.
underscore anything you see dm underscore, it means this is a system defined object type, and you can create
Mm.
any number of documents associated with this system defined object type. So all these
Oh,
attributes belong to this table.
okay.
Okay. Now the values that
Okay.
you assign here depends on how you are assigning it, manually or through some client application. Some of these
Oh,
attributes will be assigned directly by content server, as I told you, such as date related fields. Remember we talked about you should not be able to modify when was it updated,
yeah.
right? Or who
Yes.
updated it and things like that. The moment
Mm.
you check out a document to make some changes, this attribute gets updated. You see this? Lock date and lock honor.
Yeah.
So when you check out a document, it creates a lock on your name. When someone
Okay.
else checks out a document, it creates a lock on that person's name. So only they can now make the changes. Others can only open the document in a read-only mode. Even though they have a
Okay.
permission to edit the document, they cannot
Mm.
edit unless you have made the changes and checked in back. So checkout
Okay.
means it will create a lock. So at what time did you check out? That date and timestamp will be updated by content server or repository here. And who
Mm.
has checked out, that name will automatically get updated here.
Mm.
And once you save the document, check it in back, automatically this field will again become empty for other people to check out. Understand?
Yeah.
So you
Yes.
should be able to play around with these attributes and understand which attributes are changing by which operation that you are performing on your desktop through these
Okay.
applications. Correct? What is the size of the content? You see, this is in bytes. Okay.
Yes.
Who is the owner of the document? So let's say student A has created this. Who is the author? So if there are 3 or 4 people who are the authors, then you can add many people here, and so on and
Okay.
so forth. When you click on permissions, it will tell you what level of permission different people have, and history I told you, audit trail entry. Now these
Okay.
are the 3 operations that you can perform. You see this? There are only
Move.
3 operations that you will ever
Okay.
come across in Documentum to perform or any content or any folder or any cabinet. Move,
Okay.
link, and copy. And you already know the meaning of all these 3. Move means cut and paste.
Yeah.
Move means cut and paste. What you do, cut and paste on your desktop or laptop, you delete the
Mm.
file from one location and move it somewhere else. That's what move
Mm.
means. Link means you are creating shortcuts.
Yes.
You know how to, you know shortcut means what, right? So shortcut means, let's say the document exists in some folder, but you created a shortcut on your desktop so that from the
Mm.
desktop also you can access the same document just by double clicking on it, correct? So
Yes.
that's what linking is. And copy means copy and paste. So you are creating the copy of the same document in different
Mm.
locations, but they will
Yes.
be independent objects, because if you change the content at one of the locations, then it doesn't
Mm.
change the content at other location. This is what copy paste is, correct?
Yes.
But when a shortcut is there, so if you update a document using shortcut, then wherever you have pasted the shortcut link, from wherever, from all those locations, if you try to access the document, you will be access you will be able to access the updated document only, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what link is. And move is cut and paste. So you anyways have deleted the content from one location and you have pasted it at other location. So there is no
Mm.
concept of the relationship between one location and another location, because at one location it is no longer existing,
Mm.
right? So how do you do that? How do you copy? How do you link? How do you move? You select the document, right?
Let's see. Yeah.
And then you click on edit, add to clipboard. So you will be basically copying the document now. It is now in your clipboard. Okay. Now you go to the
Yeah.
destination folder and then again click on edit, and then you use these 3 options which is currently grayed out. So once the content or the document or the folder is added to the clipboard, then these 3 options will be enabled for you to select.
Okay.
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 So that way you can either move it or link it or copy it. This is
Okay.
what they're doing. In link, all the documents are same in all the locations. In move, there is no document existing in the original location anymore. And in copy, all the documents are existing in all the locations, but they have no relationship to each other. So when you
Mm.
change the content at one location, it doesn't change the content at the other location because they are two
Yes.
individual objects now.
Mm.
It's not any copy and paste. These are the options. Move here, link here, copy here. So you can select anything. Once the document is selected in your clipboard, you can perform these operations.
Okay.
Now some questions before we jump on to the next. The repository is made up of what two primary components?
File
Remember they are,
system.
yeah, file
Yeah.
system and database or RDBMS. Correct?
Mm.
What
Yes.
what all constitute this file system? I have been telling this: SAN, NAS, mount points, Windows
Mm.
disk drives, things like that. Correct?
Yes.
This database can be Oracle, MS SQL, Sybase, or anything that you
It
like to.
is. Yes.
The property values to any attributes can be assigned to an object by client application, user, repository, all of the above. All of the above, right? Even the content
Yes.
server, the repository,
Mm.
yeah. A document can have only one rendition. Is it true or false?
False.
Right?
False.
It can have many renditions. It can have different language
Yes.
translation. It can have different formats.
Operations.
Yeah. Linking a document creates a non-editable copy of the document in a new location.
Oh, I didn't get this. Linking a document.
Read it again. Linking,
Got
we are
it.
talking
It's
about
one.
this content operation, right? These operations that we are
Yes.
performing, linking,
Ah,
right? So linking
yeah.
a document, it means you are creating a shortcut of a document at other location, from one location
Mm.
to other location. Does it
Mm.
create a non-editable copy of the document in a new location? It doesn't create any
No.
copy. It doesn't create,
Yes.
it just creates a shortcut of the document, which
Mm.
accessing through which you can read the document, edit the document. If you have the permission on the document, you can perform it from any location.
Mm. Yes.
And when you perform it from one location, the changes will reflect in other locations also. Clear so far?
Mm. Yeah, yeah, it's clear.
Right? So now once you get the access, you will be able to log in into the client application, Documentum
Mm.
administrator, which is the administration. You will see
Mm.
from which user account you have logged in, to which repository you have logged in, and then you will see the cabinets and folders created inside that and create your own document. You can do that, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Good. Working with content, move, link, copy. We already talked about it. Creating a document,
Yes.
importing a document, and things like that. Versioning, we already have discussed. Remember linear versioning and branch versioning, and the association of
Yes.
version with renditions. And also, I told you that
Mm.
you cannot update a rendition directly. You should first update the original document, and then associate a new
Mm.
rendition of the updated document, right? And
Mm.
how you can import a rendition and how you can view renditions, you already saw. We will see all of that
Yes.
quickly and run through it,
Okay.
right? So we have already talked about the life cycle states of a document, starting from draft, edit, review, approval, creating a renditions, publishing it, and then eventually once it is in production for some years, you archive it, and then from archival also you delete it. Correct?
Yeah.
So based on these life cycle states, you apply these policies on documents, and once these policies are applied on those documents, based on whatever policy you applied, it will follow this life cycle. Okay.
Okay.
How you can edit, now the important thing to understand here is how you edit a document. You select the document, go to file menu, click on edit. Okay. Or you
Mm.
right
Okay.
click on the document, then also you will see all these options. Okay. Or
Mm.
you single select the document and then click on edit. I mean, there are many ways you see this screen. Okay.
Yeah.
Now there are two options for you to understand here, this edit option and this checkout option. You see, do
Yeah.
you remember what we discussed about checkout? What is the meaning of checkout?
It will give the details of the owner.
Owner.
Af-
No. Checkout
After
means
doing changes.
if you have to work on a document, you first need to check it out on your name to make the changes,
Mm.
correct?
Yes.
Remember that? Yeah. So
Let's check in.
whenever you have to edit the content or property of a document, the document needs to be checked out or logged on your name. That is what checkout
Mm,
means. And what is
uh,
edit? When you click
oh,
on checkout, what happens is this document is logged on your name like this. You see this lock? So the document
yes.
will still stay like that and it will have a lock created on your name. This is called checkout. It will not open the document in front of your screen to make the changes to the content. That is what checkout
Mm,
is. But when you click on edit, it will check out plus open the document in front of your screen for you to make the changes to the content. Clear?
yes.
So edit means checkout plus open and checkout means only
Okay.
checkout.
Yeah.
After you click on checkout, this lock will be created. Then you will have to double click on this document to open it so that you can make the changes. Okay.
Okay.
And
Oh,
whenever you click on checkout or whenever you click on edit, what happens is a local copy of this document is temporarily stored on your local machine on your desktop in some temp folder.
okay.
And from there it gets opened in front of your screen. And when you make the changes, it gets saved there on your local machine only. So after the checkout operation is done, you see this check-in button,
Yes.
which is currently grayed out. So once you click on checkout, then this check-in
Mm,
button will be enabled for you. So once you check
oh,
out, when you double click on this document, a local copy is downloaded on your laptop or desktop, and then from there gets invoked to open it. Once you make the changes to the content, save it, it is still saved on your local machine. When you click on check-in, then it will fetch that document from your local machine and then again import it into the system.
okay.
Then the repositories file system gets updated with the updated content with the new version or the same version. You will see that option when you click on check-in. Then you will see the
Mm,
option whether to check in with the same version, next version, minor, next version, major. We will see all that screen now.
okay.
Now let's say there is a PDF file that you have created for this Word document, right? PDF rendition. So
Okay.
there are two ways to create rendition. One is you have a BTS software which is configured for your Documentum, or you use some other software on your machine to convert the same Word file into PDF file on your local machine. If you did that second part, you created that on your local machine, you select this document, click on file, click on
Uh,
import rendition. You see this?
yes.
So when you click on import rendition, you select that PDF file which you created on your local machine and complete the import operation. Then there will be
Mm,
a PDF file associated with this Word document. Then you can click on
mm,
view and then renditions. Then it will show two documents. One a
okay.
Word file, another one as a PDF file. We will see that screen also in a while.
Oh,
Now, I told you, right, that in a repository, only one person at any point in time can check out a document to edit it. Exception is
yes.
virtual documents. We talked about it, correct? Virtual documents are different because they have a
Yes.
parent-child relationship and there are many children documents which can be separately checked out by different relevant people. So
Yeah.
let's say this is a
Parent.
document. This is checked out by someone named Gunther. So the log
Mm,
underscore owner attribute is set to Gunther. Now, currently, until the time Gunther is working on this document, everyone else can only read the document. They can only view the document. They cannot edit it. This
yes.
document is locked for these people, John, Elise, whoever it is.
Oh,
Once
yes.
Gunther has saved the changes, you will see this check-in, right?
Yes.
You see, once you click on check-in, you will see this screen. Same
Okay.
version, next minor
Mm,
version, next major
mm,
version. It will be
okay.
auto-generated. You can customize this also if you like to. I am telling you, everything in Documentum is customizable. All you need to know is which component it is, or find the relevant JSP page, XML page, class file, JavaScript
Mm,
file, property file, and dependent libraries, which is making this class file execute. You find all that file, put that in a package, edit it, redeploy it into the application in the middleware layer, and then you are able to customize the look and feel, the property, the behavior, everything you want to.
okay.
Now, once Gunther has saved the changes, he has checked in. Now,
Mm,
John can and Alice can view the changes that he has made. Until he
Mm.
has saved the changes, the new update will not be visible to them. Once Gunther
Yes.
checks in the document, then only
Mm.
John Ellis can view, and now they can also edit the document. One of them can edit at one point in time. The moment John starts editing the document, it will lock for Gunther as well as for Ellis.
Mm.
Clear?
Okay.
We already have talked
Yes.
about it. Do you want me to go through it again?
No, no, it's clear.
Right? Linear
Yeah.
versioning. Right? Now there are two components of version. You see here
Mm.
in this screen. You see this? This is
Yeah.
the numerical component. 1.0, 1.1, 2.0. This is numerical component of the version. And
Okay.
you see this version label. So this is
Mm.
an attribute that is stored in Documentum called R underscore. This version label is a label name or a display name
Mm.
for R underscore version underscore label. Now with
Mm.
each numerical version, you can set, it's not a mandatory field. This is a mandatory field, but this is not mandatory. But you
Okay.
can set any alphanumerical information about this version. For example, you see this above here, current is mentioned.
Yes.
So this current is coming from the version label for 1.0. For
Okay. We are giving
1.0,
a name.
current was set. Huh? So now here at version level, you can say that in review
Mm.
state, in approval
Okay.
state. So 1.1 can be
Okay.
in review, so that it
Mm.
explains what this version is for, nothing else.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what
Yes.
they are talking about here. That there are two sections. One is the numerical part, which is called implicit label, and the other one is
Mm.
called symbolic part, which is alphanumeric value that you assigned. It is an approved document. An approved document is the current version. Something, whatever
Mm.
you set there in the version level, it will display here. Where
Okay.
it will display here. It will display
Okay.
here. Yeah, here. When you see the property of the document, overall at the
Mm.
version, it will show like this. Combination of
Okay.
this plus this.
Okay.
Clear?
Yes.
Now
Clear.
you see, I already have explained you there are two sections of implicit label, something before dot and something after dot. After dot is minor version, before dot is major version. I have explained this.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes. Yes. I remember.
Do you want me to explain again or we can proceed further?
We can proceed further.
Great. Now this is the branching I was talking to you about. That day I did not show you the screen, but the screen is here. Do you want me to explain it or you understand?
Yeah. I understand.
From 1.0 we went to
Mm.
1.1, next minor version, and from
Yes.
1.1 first we went to 2.0, next major version.
Mm.
Now
Yes.
instead of changing the 2.0, they decided to change 1.1, the
Mm.
minor version. When you start
Yes.
working on minor version, dot 1.0 is added as the next minor version.
Mm.
And then from this the next further minor version is, since 0 is changing to 1, you see this, something after
Yes.
dot is changing. So this is
Yes.
again a next minor version only, it is not a major version, but it is a
Okay.
current version. So at the label
Mm.
you have said that current is, this
Mm.
is the current version of this particular hierarchy.
Yes.
Okay. Now
Okay.
something I did not tell you is, everything in Documentum is an object, correct? And all
Yes.
these documents are hierarchies or different versions of this parent document. 1.0 is the
Mm.
parent document, correct?
Okay.
Now, how are these documents related to each other? Did you get the access to the system?
I didn't
Radu,
get you.
did you get the access to Documentum environment in your company?
Oh, I didn't
No?
get. No.
Okay. So, this is a parent document. From this parent document, you created all these children document. So there must be some information about this document in this document or not, right? There should be some
Yes.
information, correct?
Yes.
Similarly, this should have information about its previous document. Like if
Mm.
you are only given this document, how can you deduce what is the parent document and what is the immediate previous version, right?
Mm. Yes.
So all of that can be deduced if you know how to play around with the objects. And these are all individual objects that you have created in Documentum, and every object will have a unique identifier given by our object ID. Correct?
Mm. Yes.
Now, when dump our object ID of this document. Then you will, so for this
Okay.
document, I chronicle ID has a value of the parent document's R object ID.
Okay.
And incident ID for this will be R object ID of this document, the immediate previous version.
Okay.
Now, from this example, if we understand what is the I chronicle ID for this document and what is the antecedent ID for this document, tell me. The I chronicle ID is always the parent ID of that hierarchy. So in this
Mm.
entire hierarchy, the parent ID is always same. 1.0 is always the parent ID. So in
Mm.
all these documents, whenever you find the R object ID of all these documents, when you dump it, in I chronicle ID attribute value, the R object ID of 1.0 is stored.
Now we are saying iChronicle ID will be having only the parent document will be having the iChronicle ID.
So the I chronicle ID of each of these documents will
Mm.
store the value of R object ID of the parent document.
Okay.
ID for each document will store the value
Yes.
of R object ID of immediately previous document. So let's say
Okay.
for 2.0, what will be the I antecedent ID?
1 point. Yeah, will it take the versions or the major only major version we have to take for major version?
For major version, the R object ID of immediately previous version. You understand this statement that I'm telling. The I antecedent ID is also an R object ID, but R object ID of which document? Immediately previous document. Each of
Mm.
these documents are individual entities and they all
Mm.
have unique primary key or unique identifier which is given by R object ID.
Mm.
Now, when I ask you what is the I antecedent ID of 2.0, when you dump
1
the
point.
R object ID when 0, then in this case, what is the value stored in I antecedent ID attribute? The value in the I antecedent ID for this 2.0 is the R object ID of 1.1 because this is the
1.1.
immediate previous version for this, correct?
Yes.
And what is the value stored in I chronicle ID for 2.0?
1.0.
R object ID of 1.0, say like that. Okay.
Oh,
Now, what
okay.
is the I antecedent ID when you dump the R object ID of 1.1 version? I antecedent ID value in 1.1. What is the value stored?
1.0. R.
Correct. So the R object ID of 1.0, you say like that. The R object ID of 1.0 is stored as an I antecedent ID of 1.1. Now, what is the I chronicle ID for 1.1? Same, correct? Because
Yeah. Same.
1.0 is common I chronicle ID for all these versions.
Mm.
And antecedent ID is just immediate previous version.
Okay.
R object ID of immediate previous version. Shall we proceed further or you have any doubt?
Yeah, we can proceed.
Now this is how when you click on
Mm.
select the original document, click on view and versions. These are all the versions, whatever versions created against that document, you will see that entire hierarchy and the date and time stamp on which they were created. You see this? On 30th April
Yeah.
2005, 7:47 p.m. someone updated 1.0 and then at
Mm.
8:21 1.1 was created, at 8:22 1.2 was created, and
Okay.
then you see this draft is associated. This draft is the version label.
Yeah.
For others, the version label is empty because that is not a mandatory attribute. Similarly, for
Mm.
2.1, which is the current version, which is a label which was created on
Mm.
9:56 on 17th May. So all this you
Mm.
can check against any document.
Okay.
And how you can run a when you run without all, it will only display the
Mm.
information about this 2.1 version.
Okay.
But when you run with all, it will display all the attributes and the respective values associated with all these versions that has been created.
Okay.
Now you understand the difference.
Yes.
Now, renditions we have already discussed. There is one
Mm,
primary format that you will receive, and you can change it to any other format or translation. And all those
mm,
individual formats and translations will be associated as a rendition to the primary document. And there is no limitation to how many renditions you can associate with any primary document.
okay.
And we also discussed that with each version, there may be a requirement of having different renditions because
Mm,
you have bosses sitting in some other locations, some translations are required, right? Some
mm,
formats are required for a better presentation or view. You can associate different renditions with different versions,
okay.
correct? We discussed
Yes.
about that last time also. For
Yeah.
example, like this. So this is a branching, linear branch.
Mm,
With 1.0, PDF rendition was required. With 1.1,
mm,
along with PDF, HTML and TIFF rendition was also created. And with
yes.
2.0, which is the latest current version, TIFF was not required, only HTML and PDF is required. So there
Mm,
can be different rendition requirement for different version of a document because in the life cycle of a document at different stages like draft state, review state, approval state, published state, right? Depending upon the audience of those documents, depending upon the business stakeholders who are going to have a view on these documents, you create
mm,
different renditions. These are all business cases. Either you
okay.
create these renditions on your local machine and then import using the option I showed you, import rendition,
Mm,
or you need to have a DTS within the landscape of Documentum. You don't have to import it from outside. The way you are doing
okay.
checkout and check-in, that way you can create rendition of these documents within the system itself.
Okay.
This is what it is. So automatically it will generate the rendition and associate it with those
Mm,
documents.
okay.
Okay. How you
Okay.
import it? You select those document, click on File,
Mm,
import
mm,
rendition, then select the document from your local machine, browse,
okay.
and then click on OK. It will associate that particular format with your original document. It will be then
Okay.
associated with the document for a rendition.
Mm,
And when you click on view renditions, this is how it will show. One is a Word file, another one is a PDF file.
mm.
You see this?
Yes.
If you import a TIFF rendition or HTML rendition, they all will show here when you click on view renditions. Now
Okay.
renditions cannot be edited or versioned, I told you. You need to edit the original document
Awesome.
first and then again create the updated rendition and then import those renditions fresh,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
Individual renditions can be viewed or deleted from the display. They cannot be edited.
Okay.
Okay. Now
Okay.
preferences. Now for each object type, let's say DM document, there are different
Mm,
formats that you can import into the system. Word file, PDF file, TIFF file, JPG file, PNG file, all these formats are there, right? So for each of
mm,
these formats, as I told you, which software you want to invoke on your local machine, what software is installed
mm.
on your machine, that can be selected when you click on preferences here,
Okay.
formats, and for a DM document for MS Word, you are selecting
Mm,
software. For PDF, you are selecting Acrobat Reader. For viewing
mm.
purpose and for editing purpose. For both the purpose, you need to select an option. Let's say if you have an Acrobat Reader on your machine, can it edit your PDF file? No, right?
No,
Acrobat
it's
Reader
PDF.
can only read the PDF file. If you want to edit,
Yeah.
you need to have a Acrobat Professional or some other software, right?
Yes.
So which software should be invoked when you double click on a document to open it or edit it, that can be selected by default for each user. So every user has to do it separately because different users depend belonging to different department of an organization may have different
Mm,
software installed on their laptop and desktop, correct?
yes.
So based on there that you can create an SOP document as an administrator or as a developer to go to click on
Mm,
preferences once they log in, then click on formats, then select which type of document, which format of document, and which software for reading purpose and which software for editing purpose. You can guide them.
mm.
They can select the applications by clicking here for viewing purpose and for editing purpose. See this?
Okay.
For a JPEG file, what option you need to
Mm,
select? For PNG document, what option to select? For Acrobat Read, for a PDF file, what option to select? For a Word file, what option to select and edit? All you can set from here. By default, when you next time double click, automatically those applications that you select from here will be invoked on your machine if it is installed.
Okay.
Correct? Now some questions.
Okay.
Who can edit a checked out document?
The person who opened at first.
Who can edit a checked out document? Only the person who has checked it out.
Then.
Because the when you check out a document, there is a lock created on your name. I told you, right? Lock honor and lock date,
Mm.
right? So that lock on, you now can
Yeah.
go and edit the document, no one else.
Yes.
The content server always applies the current label to the highest version number.
And
Tell me if it is true or false and why.
1 minute. Yeah. It is a linear versioning. So from first to like 1.0, 1.1, it's true.
Just take an example here now. Let's say this is the
Yes.
versioning.
Yeah.
Now read this statement. The content server, which is the repository, always
Mm.
applies the current label. You know label, right? Version label.
Yes.
First of all, content server doesn't apply any label. It's a manual thing that you need to set when you set the version. Correct? There were two part of a version, right?
Yeah.
One was implicit part, the other one was symbolic part. Implicit part
Yes.
was numerical value. Remember?
Version numbers. Yeah.
Implicit part was
Yes.
numerical
Yes.
value, and symbolic part is this value, which you set manually whenever you want to set something like that. This one. This
Mm-hmm.
is not a
Yeah.
mandatory field. Content server doesn't apply any value
Mm.
here. You have to set it up.
Yes. Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
So, again, reading the question. Again, reading the question. The content server always applies the current label to highest version level. False. Correct? It's not the
Yes.
content server that applies, and it is not to the highest version. For example, in this
Mm.
hierarchy,
Mm.
let's say this is not there. Let's say this is also not there. What is the highest version here? Now, in terms of number, the highest version is 2.0,
2.0. Yes.
but there is a branching that is done. So this is the current version,
Mm.
right? Now this will become current
Yes.
version, right? Not 2.0. So again, this statement is false from this point of view also, correct?
Yes.
Now, next question. In the version tree shown, identify three major versions and three minor versions. Tell me quickly. You should be able to answer this quickly.
Major versions are 1.0, 1.1, 1.
No, no,
1.1,
no.
2.0, 3.0,
Sorry,
and
tell
minor
again.
are 1. Okay, major versions are 1.0 and
Hmm,
2.0, 3.0,
correct.
and minor
And
are
rest all minor. Rest all minor. Because
yes.
something has changed after one, after dot. That's why
Mm,
they are minor. For major
yes.
versions, after dot, it should always be zero.
Yeah.
That's why it is major, right?
Mm,
Now, all
yes.
versions of a document share the same attribute values.
False.
Why?
Because we are giving different name now.
Different values associated with different
Yeah.
attributes. And if nothing, then
Yes.
for all the versions, the version number will be different, right? This itself will
Yeah.
be different. So this is one of the
Um,
attributes. Now, who updated it? At
yes.
what time it was updated? That will be different, right?
Everything is different. Yes.
Yeah. Configuring format preferences allows you to specify an editing application for a rendition. Now tell me this answer. I have explained
Um,
this to you two, three times now. Read it carefully and tell me.
okay. I didn't get this. Could you please repeat it further?
We just now were discussing about setting the preferences here, right? For viewing purpose and for
Yes.
editing purpose, correct?
Yeah.
Now,
Whatever
if you
with
read the
the.
question,
Mm.
configuring the format preferences allows
Uh,
you to specify an editing application for a rendition.
We should
This,
have we have that software
but can you
happening.
edit a rendition?
No, we cannot.
So this is false, right? Nothing can allow
Yes,
you to edit a rendition,
condition,
correct?
yes. Yeah.
Right. So you need to read these questions carefully.
Okay.
Okay, now you will be able to check out a document, edit a document, save it, check in it back, and then see the changed property, lock honor, lock date, all these things you can see, correct? And do. You can also
Yes.
import a rendition into the system and then specify and view what all versions and what all renditions are associated with the document, correct?
Yes.
And now you also understand how each version of a document are related with each other in terms of two
Mm.
attributes, I antecedent ID and I chronicle ID, correct?
Yes.
Now, before we jump, I have briefly touched upon this topic and I could sense your discomfort. And you will not be able to understand if you don't understand Java OOPS concept, or if you don't understand database concepts, fundamentals. Middleware will not come into this. So you can keep aside middleware concepts for now, but database and OOPS concept is mandatory for this third topic. And it is a big topic because I can
Okay.
keep
Like
saying
object,
something. mm,
we are going from level one, like in objects and type.
Yeah, so
I
objects and types require
one
you
or
to have an. Go
sorry
ahead. I'm telling
in
objects
object
and
and type.
types. Objects and types require you to have at least fundamental level of understanding on OOPS concept and Java
Mm.
and database also.
Okay.
Because now here, from database point of view, we are going to dive more into how
Mm.
to write inner join, how to write outer join related DQL queries, how to write these API commands, and how and what these custom object types which I touched upon, right? The you have system defined object types which starts with tm underscore, how one
Mm.
object type is related to another object type and how they are linked with each other using one or the other of the attributes.
Mm.
Yeah,
Then
so
mm.
I will suggest you study oops concept and database fundamentals, and then let
Okay.
Sumaya know, then only we should connect, otherwise you will not be able to understand this topic for sure.
Okay.
And this is the biggest topic, okay? If you understand this
Okay.
topic, we can start with
Mm.
development parallelly.
Okay. Java in Java hooks and databases, basic concepts are enough, or do you want me to like? Is
pick
there
up
any
pick up
concept I
oops
want?
pick up oops concept first.
Okay.
pick Pick up oops concept, okay, in Java.
Any
And
particular
then
concepts you want me to go through, or
primarily inheritance.
okay.
Primarily inheritance, okay. And then in
Uh,
database you should pick up what are inner joins, what are outer joins. If you have two database tables and the value stored in one of the attributes one table is the
mm,
same as the value stored in another attribute of another table, and that value is known to you. So then how do you deduce the information about other attributes? That is called inner
mm,
joins and outer joins. Normalization of database table. So these are basic concepts that you need to pick up.
okay.
So
I will
you
go
do,
through
yeah, so
and
you
let
cover
you
these concepts and let Sumaya know, then we can connect
know. Mm.
tomorrow or day after tomorrow accordingly.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, okay. You see my screen still, right? W3 schools.
Yes.
You know
Um.
W3 schools, correct?
Yes.
So you follow W3 schools, na? Open this Java,
Mm.
right? And then you pick up this, see, Java oops, Java classes and objects, Java class
Mm.
attributes, class methods. So this
Okay.
part, the first five parts you see, right?
Mm.
Although all these learnings will help you if you want to dive deep into development,
Okay.
but in order to understand these concepts, these
Mm.
first five topics are important. But as a developer, all these things are important. So you parallelly start
Okay.
studying everything.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll
Okay.
go through this.
Yeah. Okay, so you use W3 scripts. You can run, study SQL here also. You can study Java here also. Okay.
Okay.